Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have been looking forward to making this video all week, and I know that a lot of you have been looking forward to watching it as well. So we're finally here discussing Camille's magnificence of a cross-examination. But before we get there, please indulge me. I'd just like to thank everyone who has continued to watch this content over the past 2 years. When we started coverage on Johnny Depp's cases, both in the UK and in Virginia, personally, for me, it was 2020. No one cared. There was no media hype. We were all marginalized and called biased Depp heads. I specifically was called out as a biased lawyer in an attempt to discredit me, even by other lawyers who are now incredibly gung-ho about this case, such as Viva Frey. So there is a certain type of bittersweetness to seeing how long it's taken people to finally see the truth that a lot of us have been shouting from the rooftops, honestly, over the past 2 years, if not longer. The UK trial was devastating. I personally covered it by losing sleep and reading thousands upon thousands of pages of transcripts to make videos and let everyone know what was happening, explain things, analyze things, and most importantly, share the truth, share the evidence. The evidence speaks for itself. So I cannot tell you how wonderful it was, how satisfying it was to finally see what we have all been waiting for the past 2 years since the devastating UK outcome. Amber Heard's cross-examination. And they couldn't have picked a better lawyer for the job than Camille Vasquez. I knew from opening statements that this woman was on fire. And I, for one, couldn't wait. And boy, did she deliver. Her tactic was to methodically and efficiently dismantle each and every one of Amber Heard's lies. Right from the very beginning, it was clear that Camille controlled the courtroom, not Amber, and Amber didn't like that. That led to something that I personally anticipated: Amber's mask slipping off. Not that she kept it on very well during her direct examination, but the anger and the contempt and the smugness, the combativeness really bled through. And I assure you, the jury were very much aware of this. Camille's narrative is very much the truth, which is that Johnny Depp was Amber Heard's victim. He was the one who tried to leave, tried to get to safety, and she just wouldn't let him. And when he left for good, she made it her mission to destroy him. A major component of this cross-examination, of course, was pointing out to the jury the complete absence of any photographic evidence or medical notes that prove all of the injuries that Amber alleged she had sustained. Because she actually never sought medical treatment, barring that one examination by Nurse Monroe, which revealed that there was absolutely nothing wrong with her, despite her claiming that she sustained a broken nose on the 15th of December 2015. Short of that, Amber's evidence was lacking. And her response to that, by the way, was, "I gave everything to my lawyers. They're the ones who decided what evidence to admit." As a lawyer myself, I will assure you that no lawyer in their right mind would decide to keep out evidence that completely back up their client's claims in favor of photographs of the alleged abuser falling asleep every once in a while. But in her defiance, she stood her ground, which quite honestly only highlighted the extent of her mental illness, and maintained that she had the evidence, it just wasn't admitted into court, or it just wasn't visible. You know, you couldn't see the injuries in the various photos that Camille published to the jury. Photos of her in Russia, photos of her on her honeymoon on the train, photos of her in the Bahamas, the photo shoot photos that I've personally shared as well on my channel, photos of her on the James Corden show, a video clip of her on the James Corden show. Amber still maintained that she was injured in each and every one of those, but the jury just couldn't see them. She, of course, changed her narrative on the spot, on the stand, As per protocol with Amber Heard, it's her MO. She did this in the UK. So, for example, when Camille pulled up photos of the night after the Met Gala of 2014, where Amber alleged during direct examination that Johnny broke her nose the night prior, when the photos were pulled up and clearly showed that she was in impeccable condition, she changed her story and said she felt like she had sustained a broken nose. Of course, Camille was quick to pounce on this inconsistency and highlighted to the jury, or made a point, that Amber likes to change her story on the spot. Camille also made it a point to demonstrate to the jury that Amber does this under oath, under penalty of perjury. She did this in the UK. She did this in her depositions. Clips were played of these depositions, by the way, and she's currently doing this in Virginia. Is it any wonder that she completely disrespected the court and the jury at the end of her redirect and just barged out of the courtroom before the jury left, when the judge specifically told her twice to go take a seat next to her counsel? I don't find it surprising. This is someone who doesn't respect the law. This is someone who's been getting into trouble with the law since her youth, by the way, which is a very stark contrast to Johnny Depp's past. His record is clean. In Australia specifically, a horrific time described by Amber, but not a single photo to prove it, other than a photo of the bathroom mirror where Johnny left some messages with paint and blood, and where she still denies that she added the message in the red lipstick. Of course, the part that we were all waiting for, the donations, the part that Justice Nicol decided to ignore and use as proof that Amber wasn't the gold digger that Johnny alleged she was. Camille played a favorite clip of ours here on this channel, one that I have played many times before, and you know what? I'm gonna play it one more time.
There was a divorce settlement, you got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
Well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard of.
I wanted nothing.
The jury got to see this. I've been waiting for this for 2 years, and it's finally happened. But Amber persisted in her defiance and started to play this game of pledge and donation are synonymous to me. When I publicly stated that I would be donating, to me that meant I donated. So I wasn't lying. I was just staying true to my public statement. Camille wasn't buying it. In fact, this segment got incredibly heated. I could tell Camille was getting quite frustrated, and rightfully so. It is frustrating to have someone refuse to answer a question to which the answer was clearly displayed. She lied. But Camille didn't stop. She kept repeating the question. She insisted until Amber finally admitted that she had not donated all of the money to the two charities. By the way, she didn't only lie on the Danish TV show, because that's not perjury. That's just lying, which is unfortunately not a crime if you don't lie under penalty of perjury, under oath or affirmation, basically. But you know where else she said this? In her UK witness statement. During the UK trial, the proceedings, she maintained that she donated all the money. And so she lied under oath. I hear that now the UK has joined Australia in investigating Amber for perjury. Camille played a slew of audio tapes in which Amber was clearly accusing Johnny of running away. She never accused him of being an abusive monster, no. She accused him of being a baby, a coward, for splitting. At one point, she was breaking down crying when Johnny wanted to spend time with his daughter, Lily Rose. She was hysterical, telling him that he was killing her, that she was dying, which really aligns with the diagnosis of BPD, with that intense fear of abandonment. So, points to Dr. Curry. There were text messages to Johnny where she would beg him to come home and tell him that the monster is back. But it was very clear in those text messages, and they were numerous. They were so numerous that Camille couldn't even read all of them. But it was very clear that the monster Johnny was the Johnny who ran away. The Johnny who went to safety. When Camille pulled up a photo of Johnny on the honeymoon on the train ride with the two black eyes, Amber said that was photoshopped. This is the level of defiance and lying that this woman is willing to stoop down to maintain her narrative. In April 2016, there was an audio clip of Johnny and Amber talking about the aftermath of that fight on the night of her 30th birthday dinner. In that clip, you can clearly hear Johnny telling her he was peacefully in bed reading a book, which she flipped, by the way, in direct examination. That was what she was doing, apparently. And he was the one who decided to get up and start punching her. Don't forget, she was taking notes furiously when Johnny was testifying. And she's really not doing a good job of making things subtle when it comes to her plagiarism, to be quite frank. But on the tape, she never denies anything that Johnny is telling her. She just goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. And when Camille picks up on this and confronts her with it, she says, "No, I wasn't talking about that incident. This was another incident entirely." And she would turn around to the jury, mind you, and look them in the eye every single time she responded. In general, when it comes to the clips of her begging him not to leave and crying, she actually said that she did this to stop him from going on a bender because she knew he was just gonna go abuse substances and get high, which to her made the situation worse, and so she was imploring him not to do that. With May 2016, Camille displayed two photos side by side. Now these photos were very obviously the same photo, except one was very saturated to really bring out the redness in her cheeks, and the other wasn't. Amber insisted that these were in fact two different photos in different lighting. Again, sticking to her story despite the evidence glaring at her and the jury. The counterclaim was briefly touched upon. She talked about how Adam Waldman's statements have impacted her career, to which Camille responded by pulling up evidence of the fact that this was not true. One example is that L'Oreal renewed her contract for another 20 months in November of 2021. Now, Adam made those statements in 2020. So almost 2 years, most certainly almost a year and a half after the statements were done, Amber was still working and getting contracts renewed. Johnny can't say the same, apart from Dior, of course, who have stood by him. Camille pulled up the 2016 deposition tapes as well. First of all, she pointed out that the kitchen cabinet video was leaked 1 day before this deposition. Amber, of course, denied leaking it. Then during the deposition, Camille pointed out how Amber would laugh and roll her eyes and smirk as she listened to Johnny tell her on tape how she kicked a door in his face and how she punched him. Camille also pointed out a moment on the tape when Amber apparently let slip that she leaked the divorce filing to TMZ, because she basically jumps and kind of just starts shutting herself up, almost clapping her hands to her mouth.
When I say reach, I'm specifically saying I would like him to know information coming from me or coming from Jerry, from me, so that he finds out about the divorce filing or my intention to do so from some other source other than TMZ, which was alerted.
And finally, what we have all been waiting for and anticipating since Ben's little fist pump, since that Kate Moss mention, Tasha Van Ree came up. More specifically, Amber's assault on Tasha back in 2009 in an airport, which was witnessed by two police officers who approached them, asked Tasha if she wanted Amber arrested, to which she responded yes, which led to Amber spending the night in jail, only to be released the next day because of two things from what I'm aware of. Firstly, Tasha refused to cooperate as a victim. She backed out, which is very common with abuse victims, by the way. But second of all, they weren't residents of, I believe it was Washington State. And so there was a jurisdictional issue there. But I think more importantly, it was probably because Tasha refused to cooperate. Because when it comes to more misdemeanor assaults, misdemeanor crimes in general, a victim's cooperation is an important factor to consider in terms of whether a prosecution wants to go ahead with charging a person or not. Without the victim, they have no evidence. Without evidence, you can't secure a conviction. So it all comes down to a balancing act. It doesn't mean that the crime was not committed. And this happens a lot. To wrap the cross-exam up, Amber's insinuation, Amber's allegations is that Johnny was the one who was orchestrating a smear campaign against her. He was the one who refused to leave her alone. He was the one who refused to move on. When all the evidence presented, all the text messages that she sent friends years after the divorce, imploring them to put her in contact with him, telling them how much she loved him, how much she missed him, texting him happy birthday in 2018, insisting on seeing him in July 2016, which greatly bewildered him. It's on tape, by the way. This isn't just Johnny's words on the stand. Johnny's words are always backed up with independent evidence, and the same cannot be said about Amber Heard. She throws everyone under the bus, including her own lawyers, which she basically accused of leaking things to TMZ. She accused her lawyers of being incompetent and not presenting the jury with evidence of her injuries, as if she would have let that slide. As if any client in the right mind, or even a client as vindictive as Amber, would have let that slide. In general, I want to assure everyone, because I got this question a lot in the UK trial. People seem to be worried that if a witness denies everything, then the court or the jury are going to believe their denials. Now, in the case of Justice Nicol, unfortunately, that's what transpired. He believed her. He said so. He said he found her credible, which I still find laughable. And I still think that that judge should be investigated. Or if anything, she should be investigated for perjury, and it should be seen through. Because I don't know what's going on in Australia where I live, but it's been almost 2 years. But back to the point I was trying to make. Camille's job, and any lawyer's job, is to paint a picture for the jury. Now, Amber can deny all she wants, but if Camille makes the point, if she shows the jury the logic, if she shows the jury the evidence and the connections that are, in this case, undeniable, it's up to them to absorb that information. And if they find it credible enough, which I am hoping they are, because it's the truth, Amber's denials will mean nothing. This is a very different scenario from the UK. We had one judge there, a judge who had connections to Amber in some way or the other. We have an independent jury here. Very briefly with the redirect, all I can say is part of me felt sorry for Elaine, because she was met with dead end after dead end after dead end. Camille would not relent. Her objections, very much like in the direct phase, but more so now, more pronounced, were on point, on fire. Almost every single one of them was sustained, leaving Elaine with nowhere to go. She literally gave up midway and said, "I have no further questions, Your Honor." All she did was allow Amber to say that Johnny couldn't look her in the eye because he knew he was guilty and was lying, when she was the survivor who can look at him, and she glared at him. She stared him down. And they brought up the fact that Tasha, which is hearsay, by the way, but Tasha denied the assault allegations, which she did. But she backed out in the moment as well. So clearly Tasha wasn't comfortable with coming clean about what really happened to her, which is really sad. Camille was magnificent. And like I said, this was the moment that we were all waiting for the past 2 years. And to see it happen and to see it play out as well as it did was a moment. Was, to me, one of the highlights over the past 2 years of covering this case. And like I said, losing sleep over it. You know, I may not be the biggest channel out there talking about this right now, but once upon a time, we were a very small community. And I believe, unfortunately, I was the only lawyer being very vocal about it on YouTube. We have magnificent lawyers on Twitter, like Andrea Burkhart and others that I haven't seen. But we just weren't supported, and Johnny wasn't supported, more importantly. So to see all this support now and to see Camille deliver is one of the highlights. And I hope it's only upwards from here. The next video I will be releasing will be covering her friend's testimony. I haven't finished going through all of that. And of course, Whitney, her sister. So that will all be in a separate video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. I think it was magnificent again. And thank you all again for the support, especially those of you who just keep coming back. Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how grateful I am. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. And fingers crossed that we will finally get justice for Johnny Depp.